Good evening and welcome to Guardians of Gaia, right here on Cape Town TV, Channel 263. My name's Megan Edwards, and if you're new to the show, you've just walked into the only show in South Africa that focuses primarily on solutions and alternatives to the climate change crisis. We also explore how many communities are doing their part in this fight for our planet. Now, last week, we considered how our furry friends could really start living better lives if we stop shopping at animal and pet stores and adopted more instead. If you missed it, you can also catch all of that on our YouTube channel. Get onto YouTube and watch our playlist. Now, water, of course, is a fundamental part of our survival on Earth. And this week, we take it a step back as we get back to basics and we tackle some water supply issues, water pollution, and water systems in Cape Town. Now, South Africa isn't at all safe from the effects of climate change. In 2015, South Africa recorded its lowest annual rainfall since 1904, according to the city of Cape Town. In that very same year, Cape Town recorded its highest temperatures in the last 100 years at 42 degrees. The lack of rain and the abnormally high temperatures also ended up contributing to some of the worst fires our city has ever seen. And in 2017 and 2018, the Western Cape experienced its worst drought in decades, also known as Day Zero. Now, while most, or rather some Cape Townians have continued to follow Day Zero protocol, many have contributed to polluting our oceans and our rivers. And in many cases, government has also failed to deliver reliable water systems to our urban citizens. Well, tonight, though, we will have a look at the reality of communal taps in townships, but also we have a look at how we can better understand the value of water. So tonight, this is Guardians of Gaia, and my name is Megan Edwards. If you or someone you know is actively fighting climate change in your community, or perhaps you wish for us to tackle a very specific environmental issue in your community, then please email us at gog@capetowntv.org. Right now, though, we meet the Environmental Monitoring Group, who will walk us through the current state of water quality, water supply, and water systems in rural Cape Town.
The water crisis in peri-urban South Africa and Cape Town are a direct infringement on human rights. Chapter 2 of the Constitution of South Africa provides that everyone has the right to have access to sufficient food and water. But between poor service delivery, drought, and water pollution in our dams, oceans, and rivers, the solutions aren't simply found on the surface.
Right. My name is Siyabonga Mieza. I'm from KZN. And I'm now based here in Cape Town, of course. And I work for an environmental monitoring group, EMG, based in Cape Town Observatory. Then our work aims really to facilitate processes that lead to healthier relationships amongst ourselves and the environment, and facilitate kind of access to affordable and reliable, adequate water in the urban spaces, but also we have partnerships in rural spaces like in the Eastern Cape, Mpumalanga, and work closely with other partners in South Africa through the South African Water Caucus.
Sia walks us through Cape Town's relationship with water, post Day Zero.
Cape Town's relationship with water since Day Zero, or since the drought of 2017 to 18, it's hard to say it has changed or not. Maybe let's say yes and no, it has changed, but depending on on what community and class you're talking about. But in a general sense, people in townships and peri-urban spaces have had a very, what would be the right word? An interesting relationship with water in a city perspective, where water has been always scarce or unreliable. And that relationship has been maintained through day zero. It's just that day zero made it a much more shared responsibility from those who have and those who do not have.
Water-related issues in peri-urban Cape Town go beyond pollution or service delivery, in fact, and stretch as far as life-threatening trips to the loo at night for women and children.
So peri-urban communities and informal settlements in Cape Town still face challenges beyond day zero and around water issues. Like the water is still unreliable, like it will go off, etc., which is expected from, I mean, it's a metropolitan municipality. Water, it's a complicated system, but the outages of water are really, really ridiculous when it comes to these peri-urban and township areas. Then the next challenge is just the lack of clean drinking water that goes with the first point of unreliability of water. And if it's there, it's either it's brack, it's dirty, you can't use it, and then it comes in at certain times. And another challenge that I would like to highlight is the sanitation issues. When you talk about water availability and access, sanitation cannot be left out in an urban space. And in informal settlement, that is really, really a distressing part of water access. The sanitation, and it's particularly when we talk about women and girls, where going to the toilet or the loos is a threat, is a life-threatening exercise at night or even during the day, where the toilet are either not there, or they are not functioning, or they are far away from the household.
Environmental Monitoring Group recently pulled together high schools from Mfuleni, Cape Town, Manzantombi High School, Bardale High School, and Fairdale High School. These schools competed to raise awareness around the environment and the Kells River catchment area, with a particular focus on learning linked to real-life experiences, in the form of either stories, presentations, performances, or posters, which all contribute to a collective case study reflecting life along the Kells River.
And in particular, I want to draw attention to externalized costs that go with these polluted spaces and water bodies, where communities that are already living in poverty now have to spend more money taking kids to clinics, etc., because of they would have played in these dirty water bodies, and just maybe also inhaling and all those related things that make kids sick and out of school. And then women in particular would now carry an extra burden to take care of the sick kids that kind of derive the sickness from waterborne diseases.
A large number of peri-urban communities make use of communal taps, where more than 50 homes share the facility. Sia walks us through the benefits and disadvantages of this design.
Yeah, informal settlements mostly use communal taps as a way to access water. And in comparison to I think I would say to other African countries and maybe other African cities, we would say arguably there's a lot of access to water through communal taps, but there are many disadvantages around that as well. And also limitations into how people can access water. But other disadvantages that come with that is first just the crowding in the pandemic. That's one thing. And secondly, it's the sheer safety of women and girls in accessing water from communal taps, but also possible contamination from that's one other thing, where you find that communal taps are not the way they are designed or situated. So that the pipe in which the water comes is standing in a pool of very dirty water. For me, that's kind of very unsafe because there's a high chance of contamination there. Then maybe the last point would be also the reliability of this water in these communal taps. When more than 50 people, or I think it's more than 50 people that usually use one tap, where then when you don't have water flowing through that tap at that specific hour, how many people are suffering, etc.
Water is a fundamental human right. Poor water supply is a direct infringement on this right. And so now we see how climate change issues are actually human rights issues. We take a quick break, and when we come back, we chat to locals at Luandlwe community who are still living day zero every day. Stay with us.